it's me, Mr. Cookfulness. I'm back. Delighted to be back at the festival, doing some more dishes. This time I'm going to be doing sort of themed weeks. Could be an ingredient, could be a particular type of eating, could be anything. This week, for the first one back, I'm doing chickpeas. Can't see that, chickpeas. Chickpeas are great. I'm sure everybody's got a can of chickpeas in their cupboard somewhere. And I'm going to show you 3 ways to use them. And again, I'm sat here. I'm sat at my kitchen table because it's a lot easier to do it here. I'm sat down, more relaxed. I'm not in the hubble of the kitchen. So I got some help to bring everything over for me. Got some help to anything that I need carrying. And here I am. I can now take my time and do stuff, make things and enjoy myself. And I hope you can do the same too. So those of you who've not seen me before, I suffer from chronic pain conditions, chronic illness, including mental health. It's pretty bad, nasty stuff. For years I was in a terrible place. I had to lose my job as part of it. But I'm starting to come back. I've written a book called Cookfulness, which is to help people like me get in the kitchen, because I found it really difficult. I couldn't find a cookbook that worked for the brain fog, for the pain, for the anxiety. So I decided to write one myself, and I have, and it's doing pretty well, which I'm just over the moon about. So thank you everyone who's supporting me. It's incredible. The way I work is it's adaptable, it's acceptable, it's accessible. It should be everything really. And the point is, if I can do it, then hopefully you can do it and give it a go. And the real issue is, it doesn't matter what comes out at the other end. It really doesn't. The whole point of Cookfulness is you had a bit of a go. And if it's a complete disaster, it doesn't matter. It's hilarious. Laugh at it, celebrate it, because you gave it a good old whack at it and you probably haven't done it before. So why not celebrate it? Celebrate everything, like you've won the World Cup. Like we've won the Euros, which who knows by the time this comes out, we might have. Anyway, the way I like to do things is just to get myself calm. I haven't done one of these for a little while, so I'm very nervous. And it's just really a bit of breathing, just to slow everything down, just slow breathing, and it just helps relax you and take you a little bit away from where you are and what you're worried about, your concerns, and just gets you ready for where we're going to go. A little bit of thinking in your mind's eye, who's going to be enjoying this food, who's going to be seeing it, who's so proud of you for having a go at this. I always see my wife and children just saying, "Dad, that was brilliant, you made that, I can't believe you did it, it's brilliant." And that spurs me on every time. Whenever I'm feeling awful, that is what gets me back up and says, right, I'm going to make something again. And it could be just getting something out of the freezer that I made weeks ago. But the point was, I made it. So I get it out of the freezer, I heat it up, I serve it, I made it. I should be really proud, and everyone should be really proud. So it's not about having to create super wonder dishes every day, because you can't. It's just not possible. But you can have good food every day just by using a little bit of planning, a little bit of the old noggin, which, you know, brain fog, I need a little bit. So a bit calmer. Next thing, Cookfulness playlist, get your music on. Got to have your music going. It's playing at the moment, got some great stuff playing at the moment. I've rediscovered Tears for Fears, hadn't heard them in years, just got some brilliant stuff from them. I'm playing them a lot. And I've discovered I've got a real sort of liking for 70s music, which I didn't think I did. But I do, I really like it. So again, if you find a song you like, add it on, put it on your playlist, play it. Play all the happy stuff. Play stuff that makes you happy. Don't play the music that makes you very unhappy, because we've all been there, we've all done it. Try not to. So, chickpeas, here we go. Can of chickpeas, everyone's got them. What do you do with them? Hummus. Yeah, you can make hummus. And it's actually not that easy to make hummus. You've got to have the right things, the right ingredients, and not many of us will have a sort of jar of tahini in the cupboard. So I'm going to try and show you 3 different ways of using chickpea as the star ingredient. There's going to be like a starter stroke nibble. There's going to be a main course, and there's going to be a dessert, all with the humble chickpea. So, I'm going to start with a really, really easy one. Because all you do is take your can of chickpeas and you tip it out. That's it. It's hard, that, isn't it? So you just basically just put it out. And if you wanted to, do a couple of tins, you know, because these will keep once you've done them. So what are we going to do next? Now I'm going to make 3 different flavours of roasted chickpeas, again in this one pan. So what I've got some garam masala, which is a beautiful mix of Indian spices, and it just smells amazing. So, oh, it's brilliant. So take about 1/3 of what you've got and sprinkle on the garam masala. There we go. Next one, I've just found this actually. It's called paprika and pepper all-purpose seasoning. And what it's got in, it's salt, paprika, black pepper, chili, onion, garlic, bit of nutmeg, bit of coriander. It's brilliant. You don't have to go through all your cupboards finding all your herbs. So if you find these little joys, I only found this literally last week, and it's really nice. I got it in Lidl of all places. It's brilliant. So this one I'm going to put on the middle third, and it'll be a little bit generous because you want to have a bit of flavour on these, because chickpeas on their own are a little bit bland, let's be honest. That's one. And then last one, bit of Italian. So I've got this Italian garlic seasoning, which is salt, oregano, garlic and black pepper. What's not to love? So that's going to go on the final third. Now again, if you wanted to make a big batch, do like a whole tin of one flavour, a whole tin of another flavour, a whole tin of another flavour. Bit of olive oil, just to sprinkle over the top. Sprinkly, 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 because you want them to roast nicely. Now if you want to, you can give them a good old mix up, but you don't have to. That is it. That's all you have to do. Literally, put them on, roast them, and put them in a hot oven, 200 degrees, about 15 minutes. Keep an eye on them. If they're not quite gone roasty and nutty, just keep going and keep watching them, keep going. Get them out, let them cool down, and these are fabulous as a little nibbly snack because they're really healthy, or they're really great on top of salads, just sprinkled on top of a salad. Use them for all kinds of things. Got people coming around, a few of these, get them out of a jar because they'll keep for ages. Put them in a little bowl, nice little snacks. Not bad. So that is number 1. What are we going to do for number 2? Well, this one is an interesting one. I'm going to make chickpea blondies. Yeah. Right, so we're going to make these lovely chickpea blondies. So there's no chocolate in these, hence they're blondies and not brownies, but they do come out sort of beigey. Now, these are delicious, and the good thing about this recipe is, it's an all-in-one. So yes, there are quite a few ingredients, but once you've got them all ready, it's really simple to make. So all you need is my trusty little mini blender here, which is brilliant. So it's a small little blender. If you've got a big one, whatever. Again, I've got a bit of help bringing this over, all ready, plugged in. Hopefully it's working. It will do when the lid goes on. A tin with a little bit of baking powder on the bottom. This is 8 by 8. Again, if you're making more, just use more. Another can of chickpeas. Some peanut butter, I'll give you all the measurements in a minute. Some maple syrup, coconut sugar. Now, coconut sugar you can get in a lot of places. I got this in, I think it was Waitrose where I got it. If you can't find coconut sugar, you can use brown sugar. It's just as good. It's coconut sugar, it's got obviously a bit more of a coconutty taste. It's a bit more nutty and slightly better for you than brown sugar, but it doesn't matter. I've got some porridge oats. These are gluten-free because I'm celiac. Some baking powder, baking soda, cinnamon, and vanilla. And that's the lot. So how do we make this? So again, a 1 can of chickpeas. In it goes. Obviously just drain them before it goes in. You don't want all the water in there as well. And then it's just a case of adding everything in as you go. So we'll start with the dries. So I've got porridge oats, 60 grams of porridge oats goes in. So porridge oats done. Next, coconut sugar. Now it's quite a bit. There's 160 mils of coconut sugar, but it's not super sweet. So and there's no other sugar in it. No, as I said, if you're using brown sugar, it's fine, but you might want to lower it a little bit. Next, cinnamon, because these are effectively chickpea and cinnamon blondies. So cinnamon, quite a bit. Tablespoon of cinnamon. 1 tablespoon goes in, and then another half a tablespoon. So there's quite a lot of cinnamon, but that's the flavour. That's the real driver, and cinnamon's so good for you as well. So another half goes in. There we go. If you wanted to add something like mixed spice or something, it would be delicious as well. Maple syrup, my trusty maple syrup, I've always got it. 60 mils of maple syrup. Great stuff, maple syrup. And then I've got peanut butter here, but you could use almond butter, cashew butter, any sort of nut butter. So if people can't do peanut, then use another type of nut butter. They all work really, really well. This one's 120 mils of nut butter. I'm just going to scoop that in. There she goes. The thing with nut butter is it doesn't have to cling on to everything. Get off. There we go. Then, vanilla extract. I don't know if the essence is still sold or not, but it's pretty nasty. If you go for the extract, you don't need to get the full vanilla pods. They cost a fortune. Vanilla extract is great. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla goes in. And then we're left with the baking powder and the baking soda. So baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking powder goes in. And then the baking soda, I've got a bit left from earlier, 1/4 of a teaspoon. I've got these in these little sachets, which are actually really good. So put 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda goes in. And then lastly, which I've left over here, so excuse me a second, a little bit of salt. Just a bit of salt just to give you that umami. And that is everything. It's gone in. So now what we need to do is give it a whiz. Now, it'll get a bit claggy, but halfway through, just give it a whack. I got this funky spatula for Father's Day from my girls. It's great, isn't it? And what's really amazing is on the back, it's got all the different measurements. So it's got a cup to a fluid ounce, to a tablespoon, to a teaspoon, to a milliliter. How clever is that? So, just have a little look. Just check it's all coming together nicely. Give it a little poke around to get the stuff off the sides. And then, final whizzy. That's it. So what you do now, take it out, put it into the tray that we got earlier. You see it's quite a gloopy consistency, but that's just because of all the chickpeas and etc. But it's lovely. Really nice. Smells brilliant. Get as much of it off as you can. Then in it goes. If you haven't got one of these sort of silicone spatulas, they are fantastic because you can get everything out with the least of possible effort. And it also means you've got less to wash up. Doesn't mean that your little ones have less to lick the bowl of, but that's another problem. So, there we go, all in. Just give it a little spread around to even it out. And it looks a bit thin, but don't worry because it's got the baking powder, etc. in, so it will go up a little bit. And then this goes into an oven at 180 degrees for 30 minutes. It'll have probably a little crack on it once you've finished, just so you can see what it looks like. So it's sort of brownie, but blondie. 30 minutes, 180, you have the most delicious and pretty healthy chickpea blondies. Right, and last but by no means least, we're going to make some chickpea balls. So meatballs, probably all had meatballs. These are going to be a chickpea version of meatballs. You can have them in pasta with a tomato sauce, you can have them on anything. They're nice on their own as just a little bite. Oh, sun's just gone. So these are great. Again, it's all in one processor. Not so many ingredients as the blondies, but still just a few, but nothing that you can't get easily from the corner shop. So again, trusty can of chickpeas. I've got some oregano, dried oregano, and some fresh basil leaves. So I think I've got about 6 basil leaves there. Some white bread. Now this is gluten-free bread, it's a bit smaller, so I've got 3, but if you're using normal white bread, probably 2 pieces would be enough. Some garlic, and some Parmesan cheese, and some whisked egg. Now if you wanted to make these vegan, you can get the vegan Parmesan, which is really nice as well. It's actually, I'd actually prefer it to this. And instead of the egg, you can get the gooey bottles with the egg mixture in them, which is not egg, but they're really nice. So again, it's a nice and easy one. Can, chickpeas, in it pops, in it goes. And just break the bread up a little bit. And in that goes. Now I'm just going to give that a whiz on its own first. So here we go with the noise, excuse me. And all that does, it just breaks up the bread a little bit, ready for when you put in the wets in, etc. So all we've got in there is bread and chickpeas. So next, oregano, just 1 teaspoon of oregano, dried oregano, and that goes. This gives you this beautiful woody flavour. And then 2 teaspoons of, I've got the minced garlic here, so you can use 2 of them. In it goes. And then your Parmesan goes in. Your basil leaves. And then just about half the egg to start with. Just put about half in. And then give it another whizzoonie. I can see it's getting a bit clearly dry. It needs a little bit of more moisture. So I'm going to put the rest of the egg in. That goes in. And then, there we go again. see it turn from a sort of separate mixture into sort of a bit of a gloop, but still a little bit of roughness to it. And then what we need to do, take out the blade, because that doesn't taste very nice. And on a baking tray that I've got here, just make them into little sort of golf ball balls, whichever size you want. They stay together really well anyway. And then shape them all into whatever shape you want. Now, because you've got the parmesan in there, you don't really need any salt, because it's already quite salty. Let's get one out of it. It's one for messy hands, this one. And the last one. And then just shape that one. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of this. You could probably reduce the size of them and get more if you wanted to. Now these, you don't fry them because they just collapse. So all we do is into an oven at 200 just for 15 minutes. That's all. They don't need any more. 15 minutes and they are ready. And you can either eat them as they are like that, or put them into nice tomato sauce to go on some pasta. And that is chickpea balls. It's got a bit of like a pesto smell to it, which is lovely, because obviously you've got the parmesan, you've got the herbs, and there's no oil because we're just using the chickpea herbs, oil. And that is delicious. So I'm going to go and cook all of these now, and then I'll be back to show you what they look like. Okay, so 3 dishes all done. We've got 3 lots of beautiful chickpeas, and they taste lovely warm, cold, have them in all kinds of things. They're brilliant. Once you've got them, you can do different flavours, do all kinds of things with them. And they keep in airtight containers for a long, long time. Then we've got our blondies, really lovely, and then our chickpea balls. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching again. Next week, or next 2 weeks time, what will I be doing? Well, you have to wait and see, but I'll put a little taster out just ahead so you know what it's going to be about. So thank you so much for watching again. Stay safe, stay well, and look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Thank you.